Hello Genesis fans, and welcome back for another exciting gameplay video. My name is Genesis J, and I'm here to talk you through the action as we see Tashir face off against one of Invasion's brand new champions, Harlequin. Tashir today is being piloted by my good friend Brian, and I'm going to be bringing Harlequin's evilness to life. Let's get into the action and see how today's game folds out. Before we can begin play, we do have to take care of the traditional rolling of the dice to see which player is going to get to choose if they go first or second. It appears that Tashir has won the roll today and is choosing to go first each round. I'd also like to make a quick mention now. If you notice, the Tashir champion artwork being used today is a little different than cards you might have seen before. That's because that's a Tashir that was done unofficially by our very own Jeff Pacito back when we were all still just fans of Genesis and not officially involved in the game during the reign of the first company. The policy has always been that you can use any cool card you want for a champion as long as the stats are right. So there were lots of tokens and proxies going around with cool artworks, and Jeffrey gets credit for that cool one. But now the game's underway. Tashir makes a mistake forgetting that that card that he's trying to summon is a creature that will exert him. So he's going to take that back for a moment, play a few other cards, and then we'll see that creature pop up again in just a moment. So, another mistake. He must be nervous because there's a camera watching him. He revealed another card by accident, but here's what we have at the end of the turn. We have a Harlequin, and we have an Earthmane Lion coming in. The Earthmane Lion does have Blitz, so it's going to get to have a turn this round, but the trade-off is you have to exert your champion to beckon it, so he kind of loses the rest of his champion's turn. Now that both Tashir and the Harlequin are exerted, it's going to wind up becoming my first turn. Harlequin steps forward by one square, and the first thing I'm going to do is be beckoning in a Pox Spreader, just to put something between myself and that blitzy lion that's staring me down. I will have a trigger that I'll be resolving for getting a bonus Pox Spreader token, but I usually like to do all my beckons first and then I just put out all the tokens right after. So what else do we do here? Looks like I brought out a second Pox Spreader. Just spreading that pox all around. Loving it. What else comes out? I believe I did something else. Let's see. Oh yes, the enchantment Scavenge Parts. This is a card that I think is going to do fairly well in this deck for me. The first time each round that a summon is destroyed around me, I'll gain a health. And there's going to be a lot of tokens on the board, a lot of creatures, and I think there's going to be a lot of chances for me to gain a health. And a health every round adds up, makes a big difference. So there I am paying the energy costs to cast that card, and now it's attached to my champion. We'll see whether or not the value is there as the game proceeds. So I've already got a couple of creatures out, which is great, but the whole idea of this game with this deck is I want to clog the board up as much as I can with creatures. So luckily for me, I also had a Winged Latte in my opening hand. This is one of the creatures that I think is going to really shine, because every time Winged Latte gets its turn in a round, it gets to spit out a free Vaduta token. So I'm going to try and keep the Winged Latte out of harm's way, but get a lot of free Vaduta tokens out of it that I can send up and clog up the board. And of course, speaking of clogging up the board, now that I've done all my beckoning for the first round, I'm going to basically do all my Harlequin triggers at once here just to put out some Pox Spreaders. It's technically not the right gameplay, but we knew in the first round there wasn't really going to be much interaction, so that's how we played it out. All these tokens come out, and now normally that would be the end of the round, because Harlequin's going to be done, but of course that Earthmane Lion on Tashir's side has Blitz, so it's going to get a turn before the first round ends. And where's it going to go? It moves 2 spaces, and it's going to take out one of the creatures. Looks like we knocked out a token, but that's great because that's what those tokens were there for. First round ends, and we get to move on to round number 2. Round 2 is going to get off to a quick start as Tashir moves the Earthmane Lion over to attack my champion right away. Ow! I'm going to be taking 3 damage. One of the benefits of having more creatures on the game board means I'm going to be getting more turns overall this round. So I'll get to kind of shape the way the board state lays out, and that'll be fun. My first turn of this round is going to be playing as my Winged Latte, which means a Vaduta token comes in first before anything else, and then my Winged Latte is allowed to move, so I slide him down beside the Earthmane Lion, and we're going to take out that Earthmane Lion before it does any more damage. Once I put exert tokens on the token that just came in and my Winged Latte who was out of turn, I'll be passing back to Tashir. Oh no, this is exciting. Tashir has summoned one of my personal favorite creatures, the very powerful 8-Chi Gargantuan Rabbit. This is a card that can do a lot of damage, it has a lot of health, and it can even fatigue, meaning if it hits a champion, it can make a champion have to mill cards off the top of their deck. This card does a lot of work and is a big threat the second it enters the game. In case you didn't notice before, Tashir actually has a very interesting awareness. Tashir's only able to hit things that are 2 squares away from it, which means that Tashir was just able to hit my Pox Spreader without my Pox Spreader being able to hit back. It's not all bad news though, as that Pox Spreader was in a spot around my champion, so the Scavenge Parts triggers and I do gain a life for that. Next up, one of my Pox Spreaders steps up and is going to try to take a little hit out of the Gargantuan Rabbit and lower its life total by 1. I've got a funny feeling that that Pox Spreader is probably not going to last too long after that. I think somebody might want to get some revenge, and sure enough, it's the Harlequin to deal some damage, and there goes my Pox Spreader. Now the thing that I like about this Harlequin deck is that there's pretty much always another Pox Spreader somewhere around, and I'm going to have one of my Pox Spreaders step up here and do 1 damage to take out that Harlequin and avenge the previous Pox Spreader. For my next turn, I'll be moving Harlequin 1 spot to Harlequin's left, and then I will casually be asking my opponent if they remember the fact that I had a token die directly in front of Gargantuan Rabbit earlier. That's going to be relevant because I do have a really cool Burning Abomination, which is a Resurrect Beacon, meaning I can bring it onto the board for cheaper than usual, as long as I put it onto a space where a creature has already died this round. So that's some good synergy that works out well and gets a big body of my own in front of the big body of the rabbit for cheaper than usual price. And that's going to do it for me ending my turn as Harlequin for this round. I'm going to move a Pox Spreader up into position and exert it as well. And that's the end of the round, and now we're going to be going into round 3. As we begin round 3, Tashir appears to be wanting to use Gargantuan Rabbit first, which is going to be just as big of a problem as I thought, as it's going to be able to do 5 damage, which is more than enough to knock out my Burning Abomination. Well, after losing my Burning Abomination so quickly and easily, I'm going to have to slide my Harlequin back 1 square to the right, closer to my Gargantuan Rabbit enemy, so that I can bring in an Angel of Death. Now this flyer is pretty cool. Normally it does 3 damage, but if a creature has already died in the round, it will actually do 6 damage. Now of course I also get another Pox Spreader out on the board, because I beckoned a new creature, and with all these little Pox Spreaders dying so easily, I'm hoping to get some big hits of 6 in with my flying Angel of Death. Now we get to the point where I'm hoping that I'll be able to get my life-gaining engine running in high gear now. I'm going to be attaching a second Scavenge Parts enchantment to my champion, which means that the first time in any round that any creature dies around my champion, now I'm going to be gaining 2 life instead of 1. And that can definitely make a big difference. And with that, I'll exert my Harlequin and wind up passing the turn back to my opponent. It's Tashir's turn now, and Tashir decides to cast Searing Light, targeting one of my Pox Spreaders. So that takes that away. And then Tashir is going to be able to take out my other Pox Spreader just using their normal attack. Now then, the good news is that the taking out of that token does trigger my 2 Scavenge Parts, and I will be gaining 2 life right now. Next up, my Winged Latte is going to be taking a turn, which means the first thing it will be doing is giving me a free Vadyuta token, which is going to put right in front of it. And then once that's exerted, I'll be moving my Winged Latte over behind my champion and leaving it there. Then I'll be moving one of my Pox Spreaders up, and that's going to take a small little hit of 1 damage out of the Gargantuan Rabbit. Then I will move another token into place right behind the Pox Spreader. And it looks like that's probably it for the round, and we are going into round 4. So I think at this point we're starting to get the gist of how the game's going, so I'm not going to be putting up graphics for every single thing. But right now we have the Gargantuan Rabbit attacking my Angel of Death for some big damage. It's going to hit and do enough to put my Angel of Death down to 1 health remaining. Then I'm going to take a second to explain to my opponent what I'm doing right now, is that my Angel of Death will be able to do 6 damage in the future once a creature has died. So I'm going to sacrifice a Pox Spreader to give the Gargantuan Rabbit Decay, which kills my token, which will make any future attacks this round by my Angel of Death worth 6 damage. And that's the end of the turn for my Pox Spreader that I played and sacrificed. And now it's going to be back to Tashir. Tashir's going to step up. And what is Tashir going to do? Tashir's going to bring in a very cool creature with a very cool name. This is a Hyam. Check out the cool awareness on this card. It has Air Brand. It's going to do some fun stuff if I allow it to. Let's see how this plays out. Now we have Tashir casting Calculated Assault, which in this situation he'll be paying 5 energy to do 3 damage directly to my champion Harlequin. And now Tashir's going to finish off their turn by using their action speed heavy attack to target my Harlequin for 3 damage. Now then, thanks to the fact that we've already had at least 1 creature, if not more, die this round, my Angel of Death is able to do 6 damage in 1 hit, and that's going to be enough to take out the Gargantuan Rabbit. Next up, I'll be moving a Vaduta token up towards Tashir, and the Vaduta token is going to try and get in there for 1 damage on Tashir. I feel like we've gotten to an interesting game state with the board right now, what with Tashir still having 21 health and my Harlequin only having 6 health, but yet I have around double the aura left over as I move a token up and take my Alate's turn to create a new free token. So it makes it interesting for sure, because at 6 health I'm definitely not comfortable, despite the fact that I have a pretty massive board state and a lot of blockers out there to slow down the threats from my Tashir opponent. Although I do admit that Hyam is looking pretty scary still. It can do some real damage and hit with some unusual awareness. So I want to make sure that I keep my Harlequin as far away from Hyam as I can. So you notice that I just brought Harlequin back 1 square, and now I'm casting Lasting Advice to gain myself a couple health, because again, 6 health has me feeling a little nervous. After getting some life from that last spell, the final thing I'm going to do this round as Harlequin is beckon in another Winged Alate so that we can keep pumping out those tokens extra fast. And then it looks like that's it for the round, and we are moving on to round 5. Round 5 is going to begin with Tashir getting a little aggressive and moving his Hyam up to try to do some damage to my Harlequin. But what he forgot about is, because it's a new round, my Winged Alate is no longer exerted and is able to hit for 3 damage. And if I do that with both of my creatures sitting there, I'm able to take out that Hyam without Harlequin taking any damage. And I'm okay with that trade-off, especially when I'm still low with only 8 health at this point. Now my Angel of Death does have flight, so thanks to the fact that we've just seen a creature die, I figured now is a good time to fly on over to Tashir and try and get a hit in for 6 damage. Now here's where things can sometimes get a little interesting when you're rewatching a match that's been recorded previously. It appears somehow, despite the fact that my Angel of Death was supposed to do 6 damage because a creature had died, apparently Tashir missed that, or I maybe didn't say it properly at the time, but for some reason Tashir appears to have only taken 3 damage. Technically should have been down at 15 health, but these are the things that happen sometimes in any game. So we'll carry on with him at 18, see if it winds up mattering later on. Now here we're going to see Tashir taking a step away from my Angel of Death to be able to get it into Tashir's awareness so that Tashir can go ahead and just boop it for a couple damage with Tashir's normal attack. Taking away my Angel, my poor sweet Angel that deserved a better fate. Oh, whoa. Next up we have a Vadita token jumping on down, and that's going to ping Tashir for damage. And oh, we've got another token coming in to ping Tashir for another damage. So the health is dropping away. We move another token into position. I want to keep my Harlequin as far away from any potential danger. And right now it looks like Tashir is pretty much all on their own. Heading into round 6, it's going to be an interesting challenge for Tashir because as we can see, Tashir's all on their own. I've got a bunch of tokens in the way, slowing things down. So Tashir's got a little bit of pressure on them to try and get a board state going again, get something out to provide some support. Otherwise, those 16 health versus 8 is not going to make a big difference over time. And we're going to be starting this turn off with Leap, which is a very interesting card to be playing now, because being action speed, that will make Tashir jump ahead 2 spaces, but not be able to rotate or anything after, because to do an action speed spell, you have to have already been through your move phase. Which, if I remember right, I think I might have been mentioning to Tashir at the time. So yeah, I don't know whether or not that was intentional, I can't remember now, but it did wind up leaving Tashir having nothing to do but exert, and then that allowed me to get a couple tokens in, once I figured out how to position them right, and I got a couple damage off with a couple of tokens, which was nice, 3 of them in fact, bringing Tashir down from 16 health to 13 this round. Then I have those Winged Lattes down there that are going to be bringing in some tokens, so first Winged Latte brought in a token, and then I moved a little closer to the action. Second Winged Latte here is going to trigger. We're going to bring in a token and then likely move it as well. And again, because of flying, the Winged Lattes are able to move past tokens or other creatures without being hindered by being blocked. So that's a whole lot of exert tokens. Hey, there's my good buddy Jeff Casino giving his exert token a position of honor there on the camera. And then finally, Harlequin's going to move away, because once again, the only threat on the board that could hurt me at the moment is Tashir. So I'm just going to keep my champion as far away as I can and keep blocking away all of Tashir's possible threats. And what you're seeing now is I wound up using Harlequin to knock out one of my own tokens, because I thought gaining 2 life from the enchantment attached to me was worth giving up a token that I got for free. So Harlequin's up to 10 life now, which is good. I'm gaining more life. I've got the board pretty much on lockdown. I got creatures everywhere. Tashir's all by themselves. I think we can see where this is getting to, but let's play it out and see what happens. Tashir moves up a square, rotates, and brings in, ooh, here we go, Longma. Rated 8 out of 8, the top of the power scale. Longma can do 5 damage and can even push people around and knock them back a space after Longma hits something. And of course it also has 5 health, so that's a beefy boy, nice big horse. And we'll see whether or not it can actually turn the tides at all. Oh, very nice. Tashir's following that up with another good beckon, a Earthmane Lion. That's exciting because that, again, as earlier in the game, has Blitz, which means that's going to get to attack this turn. So, of course, right away I'm going to have a token try and will it down by 1 health. And Earthmane Lion's going to take that damage. And then in response after that, looks like Earthmane Lion's going to... Wait, maybe not. What's Earthmane Lion going to do? Oh, we're thinking about it. Let's see what happens. So Tashir's taken a moment to consider all their options, and it looks like they're landing back on doing something with their Earthmane Lion again. They're going to rotate, and yes, they are going to get revenge and knock out that token that did hit the Earthmane Lion for 1 damage. Now that Tashir's done their turns, I'm going to have both of my tokens right beside Longma go ahead and knock 2 health off of Longma. Then my Winged Latte is going to create a new Vad Yuta token for free at the beginning of its turn. And then again, thanks to the Winged Latte having flying, it's going to go ahead and jump right up into the fray and deal 3 damage to the Longma, which I believe should knock it out. Once all of the Exert tokens are in place, then my other Winged Latte is going to be having a turn, creating another Vad Yuta token onto the board, exerting that right away, and just staying in place. Keep the Winged Lattes safe and sound so they can keep making more tokens. Next up, Harlequin is going to be eating another one of my tokens, which again is because of the trigger that'll happen. I'll be gaining 2 health, and now Harlequin's up to 12 health. And this game is shaping up quite nicely, I must say. Now then, Tashir's going to be starting off this round by having their Earth Main line step up and take out another one of my tokens. Once that's done, I'm going to have one of my Winged Lattes move over and attack for 3 damage on Tashir. It looks like I forgot to do my trigger at the start there and put out a new token. Hopefully that won't bite me too bad. I feel like I've got enough that it's okay though. Now Tashir's going to think about their options for a minute. Go all the way back into the corner and do enough damage to take out my Winged Latte, which I will sorely miss. Now it's time for me to have one of my many tokens do the final damage to knock out that Earth Main Lion, leaving Tashir all alone in the corner. Not exactly ideal. This Winged Latte on its turn, I did remember to make a token. That's good to see. Winged Latte is going to move closer. In fact, I think I'm probably going to just put all my stuff as close as I can because I like the idea of trying to hem that Tashir in. You'll see that a token just disappeared from in front of my Harlequin because Harlequin decided to munch on that and gain another 2 life. So Harlequin's up to 14. Board state's again really good. We've got lots of small tokens all over the place. Tashir's stuck in a corner. Of course, Tashir will get to play first this turn, so we'll see what the plan is for Tashir, but once again, I feel like things are definitely going my way at the moment. Alright, so Tashir's going to move down a square, stepping right in front of one of my tokens, but obviously, I guess the mindset is you're not going to get away from them anyway, so might as well do what you need to do. And, oh, Zenith Pulse. That's a card I've played a lot over the last few years. Love it. And Zenith Pulse is getting placed underneath my... it turns out Zenith Pulse is getting placed underneath nothing because Tashir's just realized they don't have enough aura left to cast Zenith Pulse. So there's going to have to be a change of plans. Let's see what backup plan Tashir's got. It's going to be Snare. Well, when you're almost completely out of aura, it's good to have a few cards in your deck that you can turn to and use that require energy or milling cards off the top of your deck instead of trying to spend points that you don't have anymore. So good play, fair call. And then Tashir's going to use their attack and get some damage in on my Winged Latte. Also a good play. And then now it's going to be my turn again, and I'm going to start off with Harlequin moving up 1 and bringing in an Archon of Vengeance. Now this is a card I was excited to put in my deck. It's actually one of the more useful, more powerful creatures. It's almost unfortunate to get it this late in the game. Cool thing about Archon of Vengeance is that the first time in a round that my opponent destroys one of my creatures, I can move Archon of Vengeance and put it into that spot, and it gets unexerted, so it's ready to do some attacking. So when an Archon of Vengeance is out, I always want to try and use them first, with the plan and the hopes of getting double value and moving it and unexerting it later on. Now then after that, it's time to start picking away with the tokens again. So 1 token gets in for damage, 2nd token gets in for damage, 3rd token's going to get in there as well and try and tie Tashir down. And this is an interesting spot where Tashir's going to be in a bit of a problem because Tashir's awareness can only see 2 squares away, and all of those tokens are immediately beside Tashir. So mobility is going to be a problem for Tashir. The board keeps filling up, more tokens coming out. And you can basically see how this is going to go as we enter round 8. Will it be the final round? Let's find out.
Once again, Tashir's going to be beginning the round, and this time Tashir is beckoning in a cattail tiger. That's a good use of Tashir's final few aura, bringing in a beckon, something just to be a distraction, get in the way. Not a bad idea. Tashir's also going to use its normal attack to take care of my winged latte before I get another 3 token. And then that's going to be it for Tashir's team, and now we're going to get to play out my side. Let's see what Harlequin does here. What did I do first? Well, I'm going to move the Archon of Vengeance up. Thanks to the triggered ability, it's going to get to jump into the spot where a creature just died, so it's going to be closer and have less ground to cover, so that's pretty cool. Then we're going to have a Winged Latte move over to the side and do a damage to that cattail tiger. And then after that, the Archon of Vengeance is going to step up, and looks like we're going to be taking care of that cattail tiger before it even gets a turn. That always feels good when you do that. And we still have a few more tokens in play. Let's see what happens next. We're going to do some damage directed to Tashir with the tokens, knocking Tashir from 7 damage down to 4 thanks to the 3 tokens that have Tashir surrounded. Harlequin's not really going to be doing anything, and then we're going to move on to the next round, the 9th round. Alright, and Tashir's going to be starting off this round by casting a spell, paying for it with energy, and the spell is Hallowed Grounds. Oh, so here, this is an alteration that when your champion is on top of Hallowed Grounds, it prevents 1 damage out of any damage that you would take each time you would get hurt. Obviously, this would have been a great alteration to have had a few rounds ago. What with all the ones that my tokens have been doing, it would have negated all that damage and kept Tashir in the battle. As it is now, it does definitely shut down my tokens. Each of them trying to do 1 damage won't be able to hurt Tashir anymore. So I'll have to just get the tokens out of the way now and let my big heavy hitter come in. And the Archon of Vengeance does 5 damage normally, which means that even preventing the 1 damage, it's still going to work out to 4. And that, my friends, is the game. On behalf of Genesis Battle Champions, Edge of Exile Entertainment would like to remind viewers at home that a reproduction or rebroadcast of this sporting event, in full or in partial, is absolutely encouraged. Please share and like this video all you want. Spread the word, let people know. It's awesome. We want people to know. Thanks for watching.